Earlier in the show, Tiff and Jason introduced us to two new super saloons and are on a mission to find out which is best. Nice work if you can get it.
However, not everyone has £60,000 to £70,000 burning a hole in their pocket. So what are the choices if you want a car with similar performance but for less than a fifth of the price? How about these three for starters?
I reckon these are among the best used performance saloons for around 10 grand. The BMW M5, the Mercedes E55 AMG, and the Audi RS6.
Together, you are looking at over 1,300 brake horsepower of German muscle. Delicious.
Each brilliantly packages practicality, performance and style. So let's get into the detail.
If you're going to single out three second-hand super saloons worth paying attention to, then one of them has got to have an M badge on its rear.
This E60 version was made from 2005 to 2010. At £66,000, it wasn't cheap, but you certainly weren't shortchanged on power because its V10 motor puts out 507 brake horsepower, enough to propel it to 62 miles an hour in 4.7 seconds.
Its top speed is officially limited to 155 miles an hour, but you can get that limiter taken off, in which case this bruiser of a machine will go on to 200 miles an hour and beyond. And in fact, at one stage, it was the world's fastest saloon car. The chassis is wonderful, the engine is phenomenal. If you want to pootle around, it's very comfortable. But if you want to put your foot down and have some fun, it will do that big time.
So, if you fancy one, what must you look out for?
The hardware that makes up the 7-speed automatic gearbox is sturdy enough, but the software can become glitchy. A reset can solve the problem, but occasionally a complete shutdown will occur, costing you £6,000. A red cog warning light on the dashboard is the first sign of a second mortgage. Stopping a car that weighs almost 2 tons and goes like a rocket eats brakes. And a new set of pads and discs will set you back around £2,000, so check them carefully. The M5 can be an assault on your senses, but don't worry, you will have time to collect your thoughts at the petrol station. Expect around 16 mpg if driven carefully.
Next, the Mercedes.
From one iconic tuning division to another, AMG. Now, there's a hand-built engine under the bonnet with a fantastic voice. Just listen. And you would be forgiven for buying this car on that alone. These W211 models were built between 2003 and 2006. They have 469 brake horsepower, which gives this car an identical 0 to 62 time as the BMW, 4.7 seconds. But top speed here is 180. It's not as athletic as the M5 to drive, and it hasn't quite got that terrific steering feel, but you have got oodles and oodles of torque, and if you want a car to smoke tyres in, this is the one.
So what can go wrong?
The E55 has self-levelling air suspension and a pump to keep that air going. However, the airbags can develop leaks and therefore overwork the pump, and then the pump can fail. Now, to check your system, leave the car overnight and in the morning see if any of the corners have dropped more than the others.
And there's another pump-related problem.
Mercedes cars of this era have a clever pump that maintains an even pressure in the brake line. Now, in early models, this could fail after 200,000 to 300,000 presses, so make sure that your car has had that rectified in the recall.
And finally, the Audi RS6. This model, made between 2002 and 2004, is the oldest car here, but that's because that RS badge is so desirable, you have to go back a bit further to get one for around 10 grand. Rapid acceleration and slow depreciation means this has to be one of the options.
Under my right foot is 444 brake horsepower generated from a 4.2-litre V8 twin-turbo engine. To Does it sound as good as the AMG? No.
The Audi has considerably less power than the Merc or BMW, but weighs about the same, and yet it gets to 62 in exactly the same time.
Is this a sleight of hand, you ask? No, it is simple maths. Like most Audis, this RS6 has got four-wheel drive, and the more wheels you've got putting the power down, the more grip you've got, and everything that the engine can give you goes down onto the tarmac. The suspension is more taut than in the other two, so it doesn't quite give that relaxed comfort. And also, it lacks that intimacy that the rear-wheel drive cars can give you. However, it is a phenomenal straight-line monster. What to look for? Well, a tow hook for starters. Hauling a caravan around will heat up the oil in the engine and transmission systems, and RS6s don't like that. Would you like to know the cost of an engine replacement? No, you don't. And the intercoolers can leak, and if the leak is big enough, then the turbos can fail, and that's another bill you don't want to know about. If you bought all of these cars new altogether about 13 to 15 years ago, then they would have set you back the thick end of £200,000. Today, you can buy all three for less than half the price of the Alpha Quadrifoglio Jason's been driving. Which one do I want to get? This one. Why? Well, I've always had a soft spot for the M badge. For me, it's a combination of performance and handling that is a pretty perfect package.